Okay, so after I wrote my statement for the Where Is Your Line, they asked me to write a piece about sexuality as a recovered anorexic, so I'll share that with you as well. Probably a different topic that people don't expect us to talk about, but it's a part of being us, I think. Okay. Sexuality for me, as a recovered anorexic, has been a completely different experience to that of my friends. As a teenager, I was shyer than my group of friends, as well as being seen just as a mate by the boys I knew. So while mostly everyone had experienced things, I didn't have my first kiss until I was 16. Then anorexia started to creep into my life, and the excitement of boys, kisses, dates and sex were wiped from my mind. All I thought about was not eating, how disgusting I was, and how much I wanted to disappear. I had no desire to even like a boy, and they certainly did not fancy me, a girl who was little more than a walking skeleton. Just before I turned 17, I had an uncomfortable sexual experience, and I think it pushed me more into anorexia, as I did not want to be used as an object by any boy ever again, although throughout recovery I allowed this to happen. When I began to recover from my anorexia, I found it hard to fit back in, especially my job at a bar. I was almost 19, but I had no idea how I was supposed to act. I had spent the last 2 years stuck at home, unable to do anything, because I had to preserve my energy or I could die. How could I fit in when I did not even know what people were talking about? I had not even kissed a boy in 2 years, let alone anything else. Gradually, I learned how to flirt with boys again. But even to this day, I find it hard to accept compliments. I often think they have an agenda. They are only saying nice things to get me into bed. It was hard beginning the date while still secretly battling anorexia. I hated my body and did not want anyone else to see it. My first boyfriend did not last long. I was most definitely too insecure for him, considering he was 6 years older than me. My second boyfriend, I began to let him see my body and do things, but I was very nervous and positive I was doing everything wrong. I never had sex with him, and in a town where everyone knows everything about each other, people think it is weird I had a boyfriend who I did not sleep with. I do not remember much about the first time I had sex. I was 19 years old and it was with someone random on holiday in France. I guess thinking about it now, I wanted to be with someone I would never see again, so no one would hear if I had been terrible at sex. I had this increasing fear of being behind everyone else and wanted to be good. However, for a while I think I pushed myself too hard. There are expectations now as a young person, especially in my town, to be chilled out about sex, to sleep with whoever you like. So I tried to go along with it, and when boys I liked started to undress me or do things with me, I would go along with it. I see now it wasn't what I wanted, which is why I would tense up every time. I was mortified. To me, being able to have sex meant I could fit in and to be like everyone else. For a year and a half, I continued to try to sleep with boys, but nothing worked. And I know my therapist kept wanting to say, stop and don't do it. Because I was pushing myself too much. Eventually I was comfortable with one of my male friends who lives in New Zealand. And I guess too I was beginning to like who I was again. The more you like yourself and your body, it is obvious you're happier having sex. To be able to have sex again, to me, was amazing, as it made me feel normal and a woman. I was just like everybody else. The act of sex is not a problem for me anymore, but I'm not always confident. Even being recovered, I do not always like my body, and I still worry if I'm doing things right. It is hard for me too, as I wonder whether boys are using my insecurities to their own advantage. I've often found myself in positions I don't want to be in because I cannot say no. I struggle with self-harm too, and I think sleeping with boys who treat me horribly are another way of punishing myself. My only hope now is I have recognised I do these things, that I can change my behaviours. At least I know I can be normal and have even had a proper relationship with proper enjoyable sex life. And now, I don't push myself anymore. I'm happy in what I look like and what my body looks like, and I don't need boys' attention to feel good about myself. I guess I just wanted to share this to show you that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And don't ever let anybody use your eating disorder or whatever issues you have to take advantage of you. Because you are you, and you are special. Okay. Thank you. Goodbye.